Well, hello, ladies and gents. Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com, and today's episode is going to be all about my competition prep. I've got my lovely wife, Crystal, here. She's going to be kind of interviewing me, going through my prep protocol, going through my starting stats, going through my competition plans for 2023. My prep starts today, April 3rd, and I just kind of wanted to unveil that, talk to you about what my plans are, in addition to the prep, like the business plans, the course launch plans, the conference plans, all the turmoil and chaos that is going to be 2023, in addition and in tandem to the competition prep, in which I'm going to also be I'm going to have some loftier goals than just simply competing. Competing is going to be a lofty goal in and of itself, but I'm throwing some other goals in there that are just on top of that. So I'm super excited about this podcast episode. I'm super excited to get this information out and just to have y'all support through it all. So thank y'all for tuning in, and let's dive into the podcast. And we are live. Crystal, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I almost said Crystal Faye Love instead of Crystal
It's been
Sykes.
a long time since that's been my name.
You're still saved as Crystal Love in my phone, though.
I know.
What am I saved in as on your phone?
Robert Studley.
Ooh, you put that in there, right?
No.
I put that in there?
Yes, you did. I don't know, 5-6 years ago.
Before we were married.
Yep.
All right, so this conversation is going to be this is going to go live on the 3rd, which is the official start date of my 2023 competition prep. So we're going to be talking about that. And I figured rather than me just talking, I'd bring you on to kind of talk to me. So it's not just me talking. So talk to me, baby.
Cool. Are you so excited about your prep?
I am pretty excited about my prep. Let me preface this prep conversation with the fact that I've got a crazy cough right now. So if I start hysterically coughing throughout the middle of this, I don't have a disease or anything. Crystal did not get any sleep last night because I was coughing all night. I don't know what's going on. You've been sick on and off. I don't think I've ever been sick. I haven't gotten a fever. I've just
You don't have to have a fever to be sick. Robert thinks you have to be dying and on your deathbed in order to be sick. He's been coughing up a lung so bad that he is keeping me up at night. That is definitely sick. You are sick.
I'm not sick.
Robert's sick.
I'm not sick. All right. So yeah, let's talk about the prep.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about first? Where should we start?
We should start about when, you just said you're going to start.
The official start date is April 3rd, 2023. Mm-hmm. I like to start at the beginning of the month, but I also like to start on a Monday. So 3rd is good enough for me.
So how long of a prep is this going to be?
Well, it kind of depends. We've got several tentative competitions lined up. You and I kind of went through the calendar to, correspond the competition dates with our conference dates as far as when I'll be speaking at different conferences. We'll have a booth at different conferences. The only competition that I am 1,000% for sure doing is the one on October 14th, the Washington State Natural Pro-Am, Aaron Orton's show. But I will probably do a preliminary show before that one as my test show. And then if I win that one, I'll probably compete at Worlds in November. But I might also compete at 2 before those. So anywhere from 3 to 5 shows, basically.
So how many
2
weeks
for
is
sure,
that?
5 potentially. How many weeks?
It's 6 months, right?
No, it's longer than that. I think the first show, so that was mid-October. There's one, I think, the very beginning of October. So would that be April? I don't know my months of the year very well. What do we got? January, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So 7 months, basically.
7 months. Only 8 if you did the November one.
Mm-mm.
So.
Yeah, so an 8-month prep would be insane.
Yeah.
I think the longest I've ever gone is 22 weeks.
Yeah.
For a prep.
That's how long my prep was. 22 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me what you're doing to prepare for this one that's different than the ones that you've done previously. Well, okay, let's first of all talk about the last prep that Robert did was in 2020.
Yeah.
And it's 2019 into 2020. And a week before his first competition, all the competitions got canceled. So
literally a week before.
Yeah. Just go into how you didn't get as lean as maybe you would have, what we did instead of doing the competitions, and then what you plan on doing differently maybe this time.
Yeah, so my last time competing was in 2017 when I got my pro card at the GBO Federation, and then I got, I think I got second at the WNBF show in Washington State, which is why I'm going back to kind of get first on that one again. I got an unfinished business there. But and then 2020, I plan on competing. I started my prep on November 1st of 2019, and then prep for 22 weeks with the intention of competing at a show. I forget where the first show was, but then also that show in Washington. And then literally a week and a half before that first show, it got canceled because of COVID. So I went through with that prep up to that first show's timing-wise, and then I got a photo shoot instead. And then I pretty much stopped after that. But I had planned on, prepping for another several weeks. So I didn't get as lean as I would have gotten had I competed in 2020. So I haven't been, the leanest I've been up to this point was in 2017. So I've got to beat that this go around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm really excited to see how well you do this year. I mean, I know you're going to do great, but like, I feel like it's been several years since we've seen you lean, but like even longer since we've seen you like super shredded. So I'm super excited to see you all leaned out and stuff.
I got pretty freaking lean in 2020.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't get as lean as I know I can get.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really any point for me getting leaner because there was no show. So it's like I might as well not risk any, wrecking any havoc to my metabolism or hormones. So I just kind of get really lean, but then not get the leanest.
Yeah. We did talk about that. You were like, should I keep going? Should I not? Like, I don't want to feel like I'm quitting, blah, blah, blah. And I think that was like the best choice because then you could you reverse dieted and then you just went back into building, and that's what has allowed you to gain some lean mass since then.
Yeah. And 2020's prep was weird because I couldn't use a gym. So I had no Stairmaster. I had a Stairmaster for the first few months of that prep, but then I lost access to the gym because all the gyms closed down. So I started running around the park.
Oh, that's right.
For cardio, which is most certainly not my preferred form of cardio. You deplete muscle glycogen more with running. You risk injury more with the running. So there's just so much more benefit to be had with Stairmaster from a cardio standpoint. So I didn't have that throughout the last half of the prep, which I'm excited to have a Stairmaster. It's going to be a game changer.
Yeah. How do you feel about your stats now versus when you started in the 2021?
I feel like I'm pretty much on par. My baseline maintenance, which I pretty much maintain when I'm not in prep, is around 180 pounds and around 15% body fat. I'm pretty sure I was about the same when I started my prep last time, and I'm pretty much the same now. So I feel like from a starting position, I'm pretty much on par with where I was there. I think I've gotten stronger since then, and I feel like I've built better shape. I feel like I've got better shape. My chest has come up since then. I feel like my hamstrings have come up since then. My calves have come up since then. So I feel like I'm a little bit better from a overall shape, symmetry, proportion standpoint. But as far as hard stats go, weight, haven't gotten any taller since then.
Surprise.
So all of those are pretty well on par. So I'm, like I said, about 180 pounds, 180 to 183 is kind of where I fluctuate. And I'm taking in about 3,000 to 3,300 calories. I think my caloric intake may have been a little bit higher then because I was trying to push it a little bit more with the calories. But I feel like my maintenance right now is around 3,000. So I'll probably start my prep at around 3,000.
Cool. And then what about lab stuff? I know, you're going to get your labs done on the day that you start prep.
Yeah. So I'm going to get all my labs done on the day I start prep. One thing I'm super excited about with this prep that I have not been able to do in preps prior is, so in 2017, when I did my first ketogenic competition prep, as you can attest, we were broke as a joke. So we didn't have money for anything. We didn't have money to get blood work done on a regular basis. We didn't have money to get DEXA scans done on a regular basis.
It was super cool that Robert was going into a deficit because that means we had to spend less money on groceries.
Yeah, it was not optimal in that regard. And in 2020, we had the money to buy those things and to get that data, but nothing was open to get that data. I couldn't schedule a DEXA scan. I couldn't go get random labs drawn whenever I wanted to. So this year, I'm going to be able to get all of that data, and I'm going to do a really good job documenting the entire prep week after week after week on my Instagram account, on my YouTube channel, through the podcast. That thing I texted you today that I was working on, those little emoji things.
It was blowing up my phone. I'm like, what do all of these mean?
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, as far as a template goes for my Instagram post every single week. I'll have updated progress pictures, but then have that template where I basically give people an update as to what the date is, how many weeks in I am, how many weeks I have left to go, what my weight is, what my macros are, what my body fat stats are. what my libido's like. Do you like that one? I'm just like, DM Crystal for more info. What my hunger is like, what my thoughts are like overall with all that stuff, but just basically documenting everything as clearly as possible so that anybody that's wanting to follow along or wanting to experiment with a ketogenic competition prep or fat loss phase would be able to see exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, how it's affecting my body.
Okay, let's just lean into like your kind of like protocol for this prep, since we're kind of like already into that a little bit.
Yeah, so the protocol will be the same as my prep protocol. So what I've developed through years of trial and error, what I do with my clients, basically it will be, I'll start with a high percentage of calories coming from dietary fat, probably around 80% of my calories coming from fat. Let me get that cough out. I'll start at around my maintenance intake of about 3,000 calories. That's basically going to be designed to ramp up my level of fat metabolism right there at the onset. Taking the same amount of calories, so I shouldn't feel overly hungry, but I'm upping the fat ratio so I can just maximize ketone production and circulating blood ketones and just overall fat metabolism. And then I'll slowly titrate my protein up while simultaneously dropping my fat down until I find my own unique protein threshold, which will likely be somewhere around the 59-60% of total calories coming from dietary fat. I think last prep, I got my protein up to 220 grams before I started dropping that down. So I'll find that threshold, then I'll start dropping both fat and protein down. So my overall fat ratio as a percentage of total calories will start to increase as we get into the second half of the prep. And then after I'm get about 1 month out from the first show, I'll start introducing the ketogenic caloric refeeds with an increase in fat and protein, start tweaking my sodium a little bit, and just getting dialed in to peak for the show itself.
Okay, so you're doing this, you created this. You also have a book that people can purchase.
Yes.
And should we go into the next thing that you're doing or that you're in the process of?
The course? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
the book. So
I didn't want to like blurt it out and then.
Yeah. So the book is Ketogenic Bodybuilding, Natural Athlete's Guide to Competitive Savagery. I published that in January of 2022. Super proud of that book. That literally details my exact prep protocol that I've used for myself and all my clients. And then I'm in the process now of building out this super intensive online course that you don't have to have the book to do it. It kind of mirrors a lot of the concepts in the book. So like the book's comprised of 7 phases. The course is comprised of 7 phases. But there's so much more content in the course because it's going to have like video tutorials where you can see things that you obviously can't see in the book. Like the book is great, but as I'm writing in the book about what to look for with regards to with the refeed macros and sodium manipulations, like what you should be seeing the next day when you wake up in the mirror, like you can't really get that out of the pages in a book, but you will be able to with the course because I'm going to be showcasing everything. There's going to be a lot of just additional bonus content in the course. There's going to be like a community aspect to the course for anybody that gets involved with the course, and that is hopefully going to launch in May is the goal for that. So yeah, it's going to be it's going to be like the most involved course that I'm aware of on the internet, especially from a body composition standpoint, especially from a ketogenic standpoint. Like it's going to be the behemoth of all courses for sure.
Yeah, I think what's cool is that like the book is really great for just about anyone. Like you don't have to be doing a bodybuilding competition. You can just be, looking for more information, looking to lose weight, things like that. Whereas the course will be like a step-by-step. I think pretty much anyone could still also do that, but that'll be for sure for, people who do plan on competing. And so I think it's cool that you have both options. And I don't know, you could like buy the book now and then wait till the course is out, and then you'll already have an idea of like how things are rolling out.
Yeah, and
that was not supposed to be salesy. I was just like, that's how I would do it if I was thinking about doing.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of carryover between the book and the course. Like some of the stuff in the course, I'm literally using a teleprompter of my book, me reading the book in parts of it. Like some of it is 100% the exact same because a lot of it is just simply the exact same. But there's going to be a lot of additional content in the course that wouldn't make sense to have in the book because you need to have a visual representation of it. So yeah, I'm super excited about the course. We made like the Deeper State Keto course back in 2017, and I'm proud of that. But that just pales in comparison to what this course is about to become. Like this thing is going to be, like I said, a behemoth of courses for sure. I think it's going to be a great resource for people that want to do a prep, want to do a fat loss phase, in the most efficient, effective manner possible with a ketogenic diet, but then don't want to go the route of one-on-one coaching or don't want to just have a bunch of conflicting information. They're going to have everything they need at their fingertips, with the course for sure.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to be your biggest difference between like the preps that you've done previously and this one that you're about to do?
I feel like I'm busier than I've ever been with this competition prep. I mean, like you're supposed to wait for the stars to align to do a prep because like there's a lot of demands placed on you, and the stars are definitely not aligning, but they never will. So you just have to pull the curtain back.
It's like the same thing as having a kid.
Yeah.
It's like if you wait for things to perfectly line up, you're never gonna have one.
Yeah, but like this year, 2023, I'm doing potentially 5 competitions. Probably not 5, but somewhere between 3 and 5. I am doing I'm speaking at I think 5 conferences. I want to say.
I can't remember.
Something like that. And they're all at the same time frame. Like there's depending on which conferences I want to actually go to, I may actually be competing one day and then flying to speak at a conference like the next day. So that's not really realistic, and maybe it doesn't make any sense to do that. And I'm probably going to prioritize the competitions because I only do those every 3 years or so. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to try and fit in as much as I can possibly fit in while not letting anything suffer. So it's just going to be my whole manifesto for this year is discipline is destiny. And I'm just going to double down on that because if I'm not organized and proactive, my life is going to get away from me for sure.
I feel like everyone knows that like summertime is just a hard time anyways, because like there's vacations, there's this, there's that. And like Robert and I don't really do a whole lot of vacations, but we are like going on a family trip with my family where we're going to visit my family all together. And then we have like the low carb cruise that we're going on. So like that's going to be a huge thing in itself. Like you're going to have a gym, but like they may not have a Stairmaster on the ship. And
probably won't have a squat rack.
They'll have like probably a Smith machine. They'll have dumbbells, but like the food and things like that, I think you can bring packaged foods as long as it's packaged and sealed. You can't like bring your own food. I was talking to Kevin about this earlier. And so I think that's the thing. So we're just going to have to like buy a whole bunch of like carnivore snacks and keto bricks and like it's at least real food and like pack all that for Robert and make sure that he's going to hit his macros. Luckily it's a Sunday to Sunday, so shouldn't be too crazy, but like that's a whole another level of having to be disciplined. And then like all these conferences and stuff.
Like that, like being disciplined with the food is not where I'm concerned. Like I've never had an issue with that during the prep.
But I think it would be easy to be like, well, I think the average person, like everyone knows, Robert, you're a savage. But like the average person, they're like, I'm going to go on a cruise and I'm going to just like do the best I can. I'll just guess at what it is. But like, we're not just guessing, Yeah,
we're not just guessing. Everything's going to be very measured out, very specific, very strategic. And like for me, whenever I know I'm going into a prep, like the moment, like when the 3rd hits, when April 3rd, when the clock strikes 12 and April 3rd starts, like the switch is flipped, like it is go time. And there will be 0 deviation from the macro plans, 0 deviation from anything. Like everything will be according to plan. And I like that rigidity, but I think my goal for this one is to be able to maintain that rigidity with like the things that I have complete control over, but then not to get too distraught when I can't maintain the rigidity for things that I don't have complete control over. Because when I want to be so dialed in that I try and control everything, that oftentimes works until it doesn't. And for things that I just simply can't control, like if I can't control it, then I get frustrated in the past, and I don't want to get frustrated this year. So,
so a whole another level that they're adding to it this year is going to be like we have a son, and you've never had a competition with a child, and like
as long as he doesn't eat my macros, as long as he doesn't reach over and grab my food, it's all good.
You do. I mean, I feel like you just tend to be a little bit more tired during a prep. Like especially towards the end, a little bit more irritable. I already ask Robert to be home more. I'm always like, can you come home early? You want to like hang out this weekend and not work? Like all of that. So I think it's going to be definitely a little bit of a challenge because we're just adding another level, another layer on top of like where you're putting your time and effort and energy. And yeah, I don't know.
I think having a son, though, will really keep my focus on what matters and my why for all of this stuff. Like, if I start to be negative towards him or lack patience towards him, that would be a really apparent moment to check myself, because like he obviously is not doing anything wrong. My decision to do a prep is my decision. If I'm miserable, it's my own fault. So like it's not fair for me to be short with him or be impatient with him. So if I feel like I'm getting that way with him, then that would be a really just a litmus test basically. So I need to check myself.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I think I like that what you said, like having a son will actually help keep you in line more, because it's so hard to be upset with him. He's just so cute, you know? It's like, okay, I am frustrated because I'm frustrated. I'm not frustrated because he's done anything, you know? It's just, I don't know. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I feel like you have gotten better each year. Like 2017, you were not the nicest person on prep. Like you weren't mean, but like you were just very shut down and zoned in, like to the max.
When I was prepping, when was it that I would walk into Gold's and I would just be a dick to people?
17.
Was that not the year prior? I thought that was the year prior. Or the prep prior. Maybe it was 2017.
No, it was. Oh, shoot, now. I can't remember.
Because you knew me during my 2015 prep.
Yeah, we did 15, 17, and 20.
Yeah.
Oh, darn.
But we weren't near as close in 15.
No, because in 15, I went on a trip to California for like the month before you did your competition.
Okay.
So I think in 17 is when it was really hard. So I didn't actually see you at the very end of your competition in 2015. But in 2017, I was there all the way through.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a little bit rough.
And I feel like 2020, I was probably a little short because like nothing was going our way with nothing was going anybody's way with the whole pandemic stuff. But like there was all these things that I couldn't control, but all these things that were having a pretty profound impact on the prep itself. Like the fact that I couldn't go to a Stairmaster. Like that was very frustrating.
I do think that like you said something the other day, you're like, I think like because when you're doing a prep, you almost like allow yourself that wiggle room. Like explain how you said that, because it was really good. Yeah.
So I feel like doing a prep is a very intensive thing. It's a very bodybuilding is a very selfish sport when it all boils down to it. And I feel like people don't do them very often, so that when they do a prep, they give themselves permission to be an asshole because they know they're doing something very hard. They would like to think that everybody around them should be understanding of the fact they're doing something hard and should be very supportive of that. And ideally, those people are very supportive of that. But it's like they give themselves permission to be short with people, to have a shorter fuse, to be more irritable. And I think with this prep, my goal is to just simply never give myself that permission. Like if I don't have the permission to be a dick to my wife, then I probably won't be, you know?
Yeah.
Or at least I'll try not to be.
I really hope not.
Yeah. I mean, I'd certainly I don't ever do it intentionally. And you've done a prep, you're just a sweet little angel anyways though. So you were never that short with your prep.
I was not. I was totally normal. Yeah. I did not allow it to control me, but I think it's probably because I did watch you those 2 years prior. Yeah. And you did, was it 17? Yeah. Cause then I competed in 2018.
Yeah. And for me, when I do a prep, I take it to a weird level. I take it to a weird dark place where it's I'm a masochist when it comes to prep. I want to be in pain. I want to be miserable. I want to freaking crawl down to the depths of hell and kick the devil's ass and then look him in his eye while I'm doing it and then come back up to show people what I just accomplished. I take things to an unhealthy extreme in prep. And I don't think that's right. I don't think it's good. I just like doing things that are very hard for the sake of being very hard. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you need to do that. And this is kind of where I've matured a little bit with this. In the past, I feel like that was necessary in order to get to the level of conditioning that I wanted to get to. I don't think that's the case. I feel like if I'm just simply working really hard and then not stressing about going down there and kicking the devil's ass, simply not stressing and not having that constant, stress state, I'd probably become even leaner than not. So making the whole process more sustainable is the goal.
I do think that is a big thing. Like, I think you have matured a lot in life as a man, all those things, since your prior preps. And I think that definitely will be different. I feel like every prep going forward is just going to progressively get different and probably better. Yeah. But yeah, that's exciting.
And I think also too that I'm much more public facing now than I was previously. Like, I've got people watching me now.
Yeah, that's true.
And like before, when it was just me and I was trying to just prove something to myself, like, I didn't know what I was capable of. I didn't have any perspectives. That fear of the unknown weighs heavily on you, and you just have to push yourself to the limit to figure out what your limit truly is. Mm-hmm. Whereas now, I know the depths that I can go if I need to go there, but I don't feel like I need to go there, and it's not sustainable to go there all the time. So like, I would much rather showcase to people how to do this in a healthier manner, in a sustainable fashion, and then still succeed and excel even, but all the while doing so in a way that's positive for other people to take part in.
Yeah. Do you think that there will be a difference in, like, previously you competed in the spring? Like, the only times I've ever been at your competitions, all three have been in the spring. Do you think that there's going to be a difference with not having to go through winter and like actually going through summer and like nicer weather and things like that? Do you think that will like aid you, or do you think it won't make a difference?
I feel like I'm going to be super cold for sure towards the end of it.
Yeah, you will. Yeah. Oh yeah, because it's going to be like November. It doesn't get too cold here, but like when we go to Washington, it'll be...
Yeah, so I'll definitely be cold. Yeah. I'll be wearing some beanies for sure at that point.
Yeah.
But no, I think I'm excited about it. I feel like it's just different. Like in the past, when I started prep in the fall, I diet through Thanksgiving, Christmas, whereas this time I'm pretty much dieting through the summer. But like, I don't really ever feel like I'm missing out. Like when everybody else is eating barbecue and drinking beer, like I don't ever feel like I'm missing out for that. Like I don't mind bringing my Tupperware to the events and being that weird guy in the corner eating out of a Tupperware. Like I don't care about that. Like that doesn't really faze me.
I just like the sunshine. Like I feel like that is like really helpful, because like if you are feeling overwhelmed or stressed or whatever, you can just go for a walk, get outside, and it's like beautiful. It's beautiful outside. It's just gonna be nice weather. Whereas going through a prep in the winter, it's just like kind of drab and miserable.
Gloomy. Yeah, I do think one thing that I want to incorporate with this prep, like I'll do my Stairmaster as my primary form of cardio, but then like maybe on the weekends, like go for a hike every weekend. And that's not really even something that I'm doing like from a calculated cardio standpoint, but just simply getting outside and going for a hike every weekend, like around Lincoln Lake or something, I think would be good for my psyche, if nothing else.
Yeah. What about reverse dieting?
So reverse dieting, I'm going to do something a little bit different this go around. I've done this with a few of my clients, and I've been so impressed with how it's worked for them that I'm going to emulate it myself. In the past, I've done a pretty slow reverse diet, like 3 to 4 months usually for a reverse diet. With this one, my plan is to do pretty much as slow a reverse diet as the prep itself. So I'm going to be prepping for 7 months. I'm going to be reverse dieting for 7 months. So as much intensity as is going to go into the prep itself, the same intensity is going to go into the reverse diet. Because I feel like the reverse diet is the part where a lot of people slip up. They put on way too much weight too quickly. I've done that in the past. Everybody's competed probably has done that in the past. And it's just not worth it. You did that. You had a really negative rebound. Mm-hmm. You developed a bunch of eating disorders. I developed a bunch of eating disorders. By going incredibly slow with the reverse diet, you're going to minimize any unnecessary body fat that you gain that you could put on. But then you're also going to just feel really good. And I've had several clients that have done this, where I'll reverse diet them so slowly, and they'll continue to lean out as we start increasing calories. Like from a strictly calories in, calories out standpoint, that's not going to make a lot of sense to people. But what's happening is we're ramping up their metabolic rate with the influx in calories. They're likely moving more. They're having more neat activity. So they are burning more probably, which is why they're experiencing that. But simply from a metabolic standpoint, they're having all the benefits that come with eating more food. They're continuing to lean out, but they feel fuller. They feel more energized because they have that influx of food coming in, and they just continue to look better and better. So that's my plans with the reverse diet.
What do you think you'll do like between your competitions?
So I think this is interesting. Depending on how lean I get and when I get that lean, I would like to ideally stop decreasing calories at either that first show or that show in Washington, and from there start increasing calories and basically start feeding into the world's competition. So to paint that into a picture, like if my competition in mid-October is the point at which I stop dropping calories, like that's the lowest my calories get, and then I start increasing calories from there. So tentatively start my reverse diet there, but then continue to lean out and look better and better and better, going into Worlds 4 or 5 weeks later. That would be a good example of what that reversing into the next show would look like.
Mm-hmm. You know how people like usually have like a big like post-show meal? Are you going to do that like at each show? Or are you going to just like go all the way through until you're completely done? Are you even going to do like a post-show meal where you allow yourself to eat a little bit more?
I'm really intuitive when it comes to that. Like I just kind of see how my body feels and responds. So if I do, it will be something simple, like a steak. Like it would be like a 16-ounce ribeye steak, and that's probably it. Like not even any added butters or anything, just like simply a steak. Because like I'm gonna have the refeed meal the night before that, the keto refeed meal, that fathead pizza that we do. So that'll be Friday's meal, and then I'll have an increase in calories on Saturday during the day of the show through like keto bricks and stuff like that. So if I do a steak celebratory meal post show, that's gonna be 2 days of higher calories, which depending on how lean I'm at and what my calories are, that may be totally fine. But if I still want to get even leaner as I go, I may waive that celebratory meal until after it's all said and done.
Yeah. I think that's probably like where I fell off, is like had I just eaten a normal sized steak and a normal sized meal, I probably would have been totally fine. But we went and ate at like Fogo de Chao or something.
Yeah.
And I ate probably twice as much as Robert. And
you ate a lot.
I had wine, and I had, then we went back to the hotel room, and I had a huge keto brownie, and like totally passed out on the bed. And it was great, but I really do think like that meal needed to be a little bit more structured for me. So I like the way that you're kind of planning to do this. Yeah,
and I probably will do, it's kind of crazy there. We don't have any Brazilian steakhouses in Arkansas. We had one years ago and they closed down. And they're making a new one.
We have one in Oklahoma, in Tulsa. It's not too far.
They're making one in Arkansas that's going to open in April. So it's going to open
when
my prep starts.
Where's that?
In Rogers.
Oh, my goodness.
So I'll probably go there, but it won't be until after all the shows are done. And
Surely we won't go there. Oh, you mean you'll go there eventually? I was like, why would we go there before you're...
No, after all the shows are done, we'll go there.
Yeah, that would be really good. I figured
we could like take the whole crew to that or something.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It'd be like a good team day or something.
Yeah. Like
so we'll do that, and that's kind of my plan as far as the reverse diet goes. And honestly, I just want to stay pretty lean after this show, because I mean, like, it doesn't really benefit you from a muscle building standpoint to just stay too lean. Mm-hmm. But like, I'll continue to add muscle. I want to keep adding muscle, but there was a point in my life in which I just felt really small. Like, oh man, I'm way too small to be competitive, and I'm still small now. Like, I'm never gonna be the biggest guy on stage, but I like the way I look, shape, and symmetry-wise. Like, I don't feel like I've got any majorly lacking body parts. I do definitely have body parts I need to bring up, but I feel like I'm at a place where I can be okay with not prioritizing just sheer mass building and just kind of like enjoy being lean for a little bit. And plus, from a business standpoint, like that would probably be advantageous as well. Like, spend some time, being lean for a little while, get some good photos, get some good video content, and then just kind of capitalize on that time frame, film a bunch of course videos, film a bunch of exercise tutorials, but then do all of that while I'm leaner, but then post show so that I've got all that content as well.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I'm looking at your face right now, and like your face is full. Your cheeks are full, and like in a few months they're not going to be that way. Like,
calling my face fat right now.
Well, you do have a rounder face, like rounder cheeks for sure, and so
chubby cheeks.
Yeah, when you get lean, like your face definitely gets more like chiseled. I should
Sunken
say.
In.
Yeah, and it is interesting because like comparing you now to what you're going to look like, it is wild. Yeah,
it's weird. Like, when you, as a natural bodybuilder, when you are lean and you're wearing clothes, like, you don't look like a bodybuilder. You look like a meth head. Like, you don't look like you have any size to you. You don't look like you have any muscle to you. But then you take the clothes off, you start flexing, you start seeing all the striations, the muscle fibers pop and the vascularity. Then it's obvious that you're a bodybuilder. But yeah, it's I I don't know, I'm just confident enough now. Like in high school, I was so self-conscious about how small I was that I literally never wore a t-shirt in high school because I didn't want people to see my arms. Now I don't really care. Like I'm never going to be the biggest guy on stage, and I'm fine with that. I just want to be the leanest guy on stage.
Yeah. So what is your like overarching goal of like this entire prep? Like if you could put something on it, like what would be your overall like goal?
All right, so I was listening to David Goggins' new book, Never Finished, and he was talking about how he did a bunch of like endurance events. Obviously, he like jacked up his knees. His knees always been jacked up. He jacked his knee up even more, but he wanted to do Moab 240, run 240 miles. And I think there was like 8 months time between when he jacked up his knee and was basically told that he would never be able to run again to him running Moab 240 and getting like one of the 5 fastest times. And that, like if you're in the operating room and the doctor's like, yeah, your knee's this, and this, here's the MRI scan, it's totally jacked up, you're never gonna be able to run again. And saying like in that moment, hey, I'm gonna go run the Moab 240 miles, like that's a pretty audacious goal. And for me, I like the idea of having an audacious goal. I like to do things that excite me. And I've done multiple bodybuilding competitions. I've won multiple bodybuilding competitions. And that's a very hard, intensive thing. Like I could say, hey, I want to win this bodybuilding competition, and that would be an audacious goal. But it's not as audacious enough for my liking. So, I'll clear my throat for this one. My goal is to not simply do the bodybuilding competitions. My goal with this prep is to literally be the leanest man on planet Earth for that point in time. Like, that's not figuratively, that's not a joke, that's not a metaphor, it's 100% fact. That's what I'm going to do. That is my goal. I don't no idea how you would test that. Like, I don't know if that's something that Guinness Book of World Records has to come out and, put a caliper on you. I'm not really sure how that works. I think one of the supposed leanest guys on planet Earth right now gets like 4% body fat. I don't know if that's via DEX or InBody or caliper or what. But I forget his name. He's I have to look him up. I forget his name. But my goal with this prep is to simply become the leanest man alive for that point in time. If I do that, then the competitions are just going to happen, as a byproduct to that endeavor. And if I'm the leanest guy on stage, if I'm the leanest man in the world, then I'm going to be the leanest guy on stage.
Yeah.
So for me, having that goal of being the leanest man alive, it just kind of like, that's the pinnacle. And then the bodybuilding competitions are just bonus on top of that.
Yep.
So that's my plan. What do you think about that?
Well, I knew that.
How's it going to be married to the leanest man alive?
Oh, that'll be interesting. It sure will be. It will be interesting to like see all your markers and everything at that point. Our doctor's office has a sweet deal for us. In general for labs and stuff. So I'm really excited to see what all of those are. But I'm just excited to see how you are mentally, emotionally, what you actually look like, because you've been so lean before. I'm it's how do you get any more lean? It's freakish,
Yeah.
And then your labs and everything. I think it'll be really interesting.
And I'm not gonna lie, being the leanest man alive is not a healthy endeavor. That is not something.
But it's only for a very short period of time. Yeah,
but that's not something that I would suggest people do if their primary goal is health and longevity. I think bodybuilding in and of itself can be a very healthy sport, but getting down to, whenever you go sub 5% body fat, it's not healthy at that point, period.
So Robert's going to do it.
Yeah. So I am most certainly sacrificing some health to reach that goal, but it is for a very finite period of time. And I don't mind sacrificing for that thing that I feel is going to bring me some sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. I don't mind giving something up, i.e. shaving a few years off my life maybe,
Thanks.
to do something that I think deserves my utmost attention and respect and discipline. So
yeah,
that's where I'm at with it.
Robert and I are two very different people. Robert is likes, I like hard things too, but it's you want to be the best. You want to win. You want to all those things. I'm I'm just doing it for fun. Yeah. Whatever the result is, great. And you're I'm going to be the leanest man in the world.
Yeah. Well,
it is cool. We're just very different in that manner.
It's probably a good thing that we're not both the same in that way.
Yes.
we'd be just competing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I know genetically speaking, like I'm never going to be the biggest guy. Like
Yeah.
I'm just not. Like it's not going to happen. And I'm okay with that. Totally okay with that. But there's no excuse in my mind as to why I can't be the leanest guy on planet Earth. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I feel like, I don't know, there's 7 plus, almost 8 billion people on this planet right now. There's not anybody out there that's better than me. You know, like I don't want to put limits on myself. I feel like if there's something that I want to achieve, then I'll damn well achieve it. You know, like there's no reason I can't. There's no reason I shouldn't. There's no reason I won't, as long as I put in the work. So, damn it, time to put in the work.
I do think that like with being an athlete too, it's a little bit different. Almost no matter what sport you're doing, there is a level of elite that if you are at that level, you can almost do something a little unhealthy in any sport that you choose.
Oh, for sure.
So
for sure.
I feel like this is just that level. Like you're choosing to be in that level, and bodybuilding doesn't have to be that. But like this is your like I'm gonna go be in that top elite tier. You know.
Yeah, and to quote Goggins again, he's like he wants to be the uncommon amongst the uncommon. You know.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
that's what this is. Like this is the 0.01% of the 1%. You know, it's like that's where I want to take things. I don't want to be just another elite bodybuilder. I want to be the world's leanest freaking man, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the plan. And I'm going to do it. Like there's a whole lot of debate right now. It's a totally different tangent. But there's a ton of debate right now about high protein versus high fat. And like there's a lot of benefits to different types of diet for different people. I mean, I've gotten incredibly lean with high carbs and high protein. But the reason I even went keto in the first place is because I did the high protein thing. I got really lean, but that's what developed a bunch of eating disorders for me. That's what tanked my hormones. That's what screwed up my metabolism. That's what screwed up everything for me. So I know, and I'm supremely confident in the fact that a well-formulated high-fat ketogenic diet can be extraordinary from a competition prep bodybuilding standpoint. And that's what I did in 2017. Like I don't think my fat ratio ever got below like 70% of total calories coming from fat. And oftentimes it was 82% of total calories coming from fat. And I'm not villainizing protein at all. Like protein's great. It's very important. But this notion that's passing around right now that you can't lose body fat and excel from a performance standpoint in the context of high fat is just totally inaccurate.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to.
That's how I did mine too. Like,
yeah.
You know,
you won your show.
Yeah. All of your
all my clients.
Yeah. They at least start off super high fat, and then, you know, you figure out what's going to be best for their individual body, and then you adjust from there. Yeah.
So I just want to document that process because it baffles me that there's still so much confusion out there. And like, there's always going to be confusion, but it baffles me that there's still so much, discussion around high fat not being effective. And it's like, it's obviously effective. So I'm just going to showcase that one more time.
What's just crazy to me, like, again, we're on a tangent here, is like you could lose body fat by eating fast food. Like you could lose body fat by eating high carb. You could lose body fat by eating high protein or high fat. Like there isn't one way to do things. It's just what is most optimal. What do you feel best at? And like, what are your labs saying? What is your body telling you based off of how you're doing things? Which is why I think it's so important that you're documenting your labs and your hormones and, you know, how you're feeling and your libido and like all of that kind of stuff. I think it's really important because I feel like a lot of people don't do that. They're like, man, I feel like trash today, or yeah, you don't get it up when you're at the end of prep or whatever. And that's
the thing. Like so many people in the nutrition space, they point to bodybuilders and they say, look, obviously high protein, high fiber foods is what you want to do if you want to get lean. Like, look at all these bodybuilders. But what they don't showcase is that all those bodybuilders feel like shit.
Yeah.
You know, like their hormones are tanked. They literally are in zombie status. And like, I'm not always peaches and cream to be around the last part of a prep, don't get me wrong. But I feel a hell of a lot better than I did when I was doing the super high protein, high carb approach. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think keeping dietary fat relatively high is going to do wonders for stabilizing hormones. I mean, I know it does. Like I've done it before, but now I'm going to be able to showcase all that for people to see. So I think that will be very good.
Yeah. So let's talk about the beginning of your prep in April. How do you plan on starting off your prep?
So I'm gonna do like when I do I'm pretty much tracking macros loosely now. Like I went throughout the majority of my building phase not tracking macros, just ensuring that I was eating enough overall food, enough overall protein. The past couple months, I've been loosely tracking so that I can target 3,000 to 3,300 calories, and then just kind of hone in on establishing that as my true maintenance. When the third rolls around, I'm tracking everything to the freaking T, like everything to the gram will be measured, and all macros will be accounted for. And I'm just going to remove all the noise from the equation. So when it comes to food and removing noise from the equation, I like to do pretty much like a meat and bricks style approach. I'm not a hardcore carnivore. I feel like nothing against carnivore. Like I don't feel like I have any inherent benefits from a performance standpoint with the inclusion of veggies. But I don't like just pure carnivore from my own standpoint because I like a little bit more variety in tastes and textures. And plus, with a higher fat, it's easier to get that in if you allow things like avocado oil, olive oil, some dairies that some people don't allow for super strict carnivore, depending on how strict you want to be. Coconut yogurt, for instance, is a great source. The keto bricks, obviously, I eat one of those every single day. Those are not hardcore carnivore. But the stearic acid in those is good from a performance standpoint for dietary fat. So I'm just going to do straight up meat and bricks as the first month of the prep to kind of wipe the slate clean, get all the noise removed from the equation, let my body flush out any excess fluid weight, and just kind of reestablish a super solid baseline at the onset of the prep. So meat and bricks for me in April.
So with that, like if people want to join along with you and do meat and bricks for like the month of April, what do you consider like meat and bricks? I know last time you did this, you did eggs also. Like, are you allowed cheese? Are you allowed yogurt? Like, or is it like literally just meat?
I think just meat and bricks. I think eggs would be totally fine. Like eggs would be fine. But yeah, like no yogurts, like all that other stuff. Like, I don't have anything against yogurt, everything against cheese, but like it just adds more complexity to what could be a very simple situation. So for me, meat and bricks is just simply one whole brick a day plus whatever meat and eggs makes up for my macro targets for that day.
And just salt, no sauce or anything?
I mean, I could probably do like hot sauce or something like that. You know, like some sauces, like a Primal Kitchen salad dressing sauce, probably not so much, but like Tabasco sauce, probably totally fine. Seasonings and stuff like that, I'm totally all for. So yeah, just meat and bricks, one brick a day, and then whatever meat plus eggs would make up your target macros for the day. That's what I would consider meat and bricks. Danny Vega and I did that, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, and it like kind of kicked off. And
hashtag meat and bricks.
Yeah, and like everybody started doing it, and they all saw pretty good success with it because it just simply removes all the variables, the noise from their nutritional equation. So that's what I'm going to do to kind of kick off my prep. Just a month of meat and bricks. And I pretty much do meat and bricks throughout the entirety of the prep, but then I might include more stuff like yogurt or stuff like that. Yeah. But for the first month, it's just going to be meat and bricks. So, yeah, definitely, I think it's kind of cool when you get a little community aspect going. So anybody that wants to do that, by all means, month of April, get you some bricks, get you some meat, hit your macros, and let your body get dialed in and optimize that, all the noise in the equation.
Yeah. Oh, show.
What else you got, babe?
I think that's all I got.
That's all you got?
I feel like that was pretty good. I feel like we went through a lot of different aspects of things. I'm like trying to rack my brain for anything else. You feel like I'm missing anything?
That's pretty much it. I'm just excited to hit the ground running. Like I'm excited to. I've already kind of been doing a lot of stuff to kind of get geared up. Like I've been, like I got a membership at Crunch Fitness so I can use their tanning bed and Stairmaster. So I've been tanning these past couple of days because I want my starting progress pictures for the prep to reflect a similar skin tone as what my ending pictures are going to be, or else it's hard to compare. Mm-hmm. So started tanning, got that kind of dialed in, got my morning routine dialed in. I've got my journaling dialed in. I've got all these things. I got my cold plunge dialed in. Like all these things that I want to make sure that I'm doing throughout the prep, I'm going to keep doing like I've already started doing. So it's not like I'm going to have to change everything drastically when the prep starts. Like it's pretty much just coasting right on into it.
I feel like you started like January.
With what?
With like making sure that you were doing all the things.
Yeah, like tracking macros, I started probably in January.
Cold plunge, you started before January, but like you've been pretty like, this is what I do all the time.
I think I'm also going to keep the full body split going through my prep, which I was kind of on the fence about that.
About training.
So in the past, I did my 8-day rotational split, like heavy hypertrophy split, and I like that a lot, but I've been doing full body for the past, I don't know, has it been about 6 months now probably? It's been a while.
Probably longer than that. I mean, maybe.
So? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel good
Yeah,
with
about
it.
6
And I feel like I don't know if it's the best for building muscle, but I feel like it's certainly adequate for preserving muscle. And from a psychological standpoint, I think that when the calories get really low and I dread the workouts, because that will come.
Yeah.
It's going to be easier for me to psych myself up to do, okay, let's get through, 5 sets, 6 sets of squats, and I'm done with legs for the day. And then I move on to shoulders, and then I move on to back, then I move on to arms, and I do just 4 or 5 sets for that given body part, as opposed to a body part split in which it's like, all right, I'm going to the gym, and I've got to do 5 or 6 sets for squats, and then I've got to do 5 or 6 more exercises for legs specifically.
Yeah,
like
that's pretty rough.
That's pretty rough mentally. So I feel like if I go into it with a full body approach, it's going to be less mentally exhausting. I can kind of just embrace that suck a little bit more.
Just looking at my calendar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days.
12 days until
Woo,
we start?
doggy.
Yeah, it's kind of
I keep
snuck
thinking
up on me.
like it's like a month and a half away. Oh, it's like a month away. It's like, no, it's in 12 days.
Well, you are my my prep
Meal prepper.
I need to make like a T-shirt for you that says like meal prep queen or something like
Meal
that.
prep master.
Meal prep master. So you do all my meal prep. Like I send you the macros for the week, and then I tell you what foods I want to eat, and then you cook them all.
Yep.
I did just buy a whole bunch of Tupperware though, so
Yes, we did buy
I'm
it.
excited about that. What do you think about that? Are you ready for this all commencing in 12 days?
8 months of meal prep. And like, okay, so you guys think like, oh yeah, meal prep, like you cook a bunch of ground beef and then you weigh it and then you separate it. No, like I weigh it raw and then I cook it individually and then I put it into a Tupperware for 1 day. And then I weigh it raw and then I cook it and then I put it into a Tupperware for day 2. It's like, everything has to be to the T with Robert. So it's like there are no cutting corners. There's no cooking everything all at the same time and just separating it. Like that's not a thing with him.
There was 1 week where you miscalculated my macros. You remember that?
I did not. You keep saying that. I never did.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure you like forgot to add some heavy cream or something.
No, I'm pretty sure I didn't. Like I am.
It was a long time ago. I ain't tripping. But I'm pretty sure.
I've always been like so good at all of it.
Yeah. Well, you're a rock star. I'm not complaining at all.
That's
I
right.
am
You're
very
complaining.
blessed to have you. So yeah, I
It
think
is going to be different though because like I usually do take care of Rigel a lot, and when you're cooking food and things are popping and things like that, like he can't be in the kitchen with me, so it'll be a little bit different.
But I think he's old enough now where like I just could take him and go somewhere. So like on Sunday when you meal prep for the coming week, like he and I can just load up and go do something, you know?
Yeah, that will be really nice. And he's like, I mean, he'll be a year and 2 months. So, and he's like almost walking already. So he's going to be like adventuring around, doing all the different things and hopefully not wanting to be in the kitchen. We'll just have to get like a little baby gate up and yeah. But it's going to be good. It'll be good. It is a lot for me to like, whew, here we go, you know, because it's like every week. And if we're gone for a conference that week, like we get back, I have to wash everyone's clothes. I have to do the meal prepping on Monday, make sure that he has food for that day. It's a lot, like during like the conferences and things like that.
Honestly though, I think like we're so busy. I think that's actually going to work to our advantage. Cause like I think with last prep in 2020, we were super busy, but we were like stuck at home. There wasn't any conferences. Everything was canceled. And like when you're stuck, like you just like your mind starts wandering into like negative thoughts. We're going to be so freaking busy with conferences, with Rigel, with the prep. We're not going to have time for negative thoughts. Like the business alone is going to keep us that busy.
Yeah.
The course launching, like all that stuff. So I'm going to be so busy that I'm not going to be able to like allow myself time to be negative or be short. You're going to be too busy to complain about anything. Like it's just going to be go time. You know, it's going to be go time. But it's going to be go time for a finite period of time. Like we go freaking, all the freak out.
All the freak out.
All the freak out. We go all the freak out. We're not going to freak out. But we go all out until it's over, which is going to be in November. Like we can do anything for 8 months. Anything. Like I can do anything for 8 months. I can wall sit with a 45-pound plate on my lap for 8 months.
I don't know.
Maybe not that. But I can do anything for 8 months. And then obviously we're going to do the reverse diet, very strict as well. But then after that point, like there's not the weight on your shoulders of it all. So I'm not really worried about that. But for 8 months, we just freaking put our head down and grind on parenting, grind on the course, grind on the prep, grind on the business, grind on growing keto bread, grind on homesteading, have a garden.
We are throwing so much into our life right now.
Conferences,
so much. There's a lot happening in the next year or so.
Yeah, it's gonna be good though. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I am excited. Like, my like, not my manifesto, but my like sayings, my words for the year is be the calm, or like be the peace, or whatever. And I really think that because it's gonna be chaos. Like, we did a podcast at the end of last year, the beginning of this year, or whatever. We were like, this year is gonna be mad, and I still feel like that. And sometimes I have to remind myself to like be that peace and be the peace for Rigel and for Robert. And like things have already been crazy this year for us. And it's like, you just have to really remind yourself to like get in that mindset of like, everything's going to be just fine. We can make it through anything. So I think your year is going to be a lot about like discipline and doing the hard things. And I am hopeful that like the house and the home will just be a really peaceful place for you to come and like just be. But we have to like, we get things like very strict and in order for that to be a thing.
You think our marriage is going to be stronger or not by the end of this all?
Oh, stronger.
Stronger? Okay.
Yeah. I feel like every prep that we go through is better and better. Like I feel like we have deeper conversations. Like, I can get frustrated at you, like you're a jerk, and you're like, yeah, I know, and just things like that. It'll be fine. It'll be great. Every struggle that you go through always makes you a better person. Well, if you come out on the better side of things, makes you a better person. And Robert and I don't really allow ourselves to be negative about things. Like, we can be negative about it for about 5 seconds, get it off your chest. Do the thing, be sad, cry, whatever you got to do. And then it's like, okay, now it's time to get up and fight. So I think, we are always going to be stronger at the end.
Boom, boom. That's a wrap. I love you, babe.
Love you too. Excited for you.
Excited for you. If anybody does not know where to find you, where do they go?
On Instagram, it's the.lady.savage. On my website is ladysavage.com.
And we should also definitely the Live Savage. Like, we're going to be doing a lot more homesteading stuff. Like, we just started a garden this past weekend. We're going to get some chickens. We're going to build the chicken coop. I think honestly having that, like, if I can do most of my training during the week and then like most of my work during the week, so the weekends can truly be homesteading weekends, that will probably help a lot with my prep as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to help a lot for me with your prep because I will have something to like look forward to it and like have the fun things and all that. Before your last preps, I always had to find something. I'm like, this is my thing that like I go and I do, and I'm hopeful that it's homesteading type stuff.
Should be good. All right, and that is Live Savage on Instagram.
Live Savage on Instagram, Team Savage on Facebook. And we have our YouTube, of course.
Yeah, and there will be more info on the course once it gets closer.
Yep.
Love you, babe. And
love you too.
That's a wrap on the podcast. Let's go get little Rigel.